Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome back to my channel. Today I've made a really beautiful Christmas card using Spellbinders Be Bold Color Block Christmas die. And it is this huge slimline die, and the word Christmas is so big and bold. I absolutely love this. So here is the die, and I have measured my cardstock actually 9 by 4. Then I'm using a stamp set from Gina K Designs. This was from a card kit. I'll see if the stamp set's available. I don't think it is, but any stamp set that has flowers or any images that you're wanting to stamp on this background is going to work. So I'm looking for solid images. So these poinsettias and the leaves are perfect solid images for this background. So I'm just placing these out. I'm just kind of laying out, trying to get a visual of about how far apart I want my flowers so I can come back in and kind of fit the leaves. I'm going to work in just little sections at a time, and I'm using some inks from the Stamp Market. I'm using Cherry Kisses and Fresh Pink, and then Tropical Teal for the leaves. I love this vintage color combo of red, pink, and teal. I just think that's so pretty, and on this background it turned out fabulous. So I'm going to stamp a couple flowers, then I'm going to come in with my leaves and stamp those up. All of the small poinsettias will be pink, all of the large ones will be red. You could do any type of background. A text background on this would be beautiful. If you did some sort of gold or silver embossing would be beautiful. You could do a different color background cardstock. It doesn't have to be white. You could do so much. You could do stenciling over this background. And I just think using this big bold sentiment, it doesn't even have to just be different colors. You can add textures and layers. You can even use embossing folders on these letters, and that would be fabulous. So I am just using my MISTI, adjusting my paper when I need to. I cut this paper larger. Again, I said it's 9 by 3 when the slimline cards actually, or excuse me, 9 by 4. A slimline measures 8.5 by 3.5. But I just want to make sure that I had enough room to die cut the sentiments. So I'm going to finish inking these up. I'm going to put my leaves in place. And as you can see, this is a really fun background. Now I had some open space, and so I decided to add one more element of inking to that. And I am going to use that Tropical Teal, but I'm going to do second generation stamping. There's another image on the stamp set. It's just a little, almost like a little flower bud. And I'm just going to use that to fill in some of these holes, but I don't want it to be as dark as the other leaves. So again, that's why I'm doing the second generation stamping. I started with a leaf, and as I was getting ready to stamp it, I just thought, no, I don't want a bunch of leaves on the background. I actually felt like that was going to feel cluttered. So here was that second image. So second generation stamping, if you're not aware, is you're going to ink up your stamp it off one time onto a scratch piece of paper, and then the next stamp you would stamp on your paper that you're making your project with. So second generation stamping is really light, and as you can see, you can just see it a little bit, but it's going to fill in some of that open white space. I'm going to add a few more, then we are going to die cut this, which is really scary because you just did all of that work. But I'm going to center this, use some low tack tape to tape around this. Now, the stamping took me about 20 minutes. I also wasn't in a hurry. I have my TV on when I'm crafting, and I was kind of watching the Holiday Baking Championship at the same time. So if you were in a real big hurry, you could probably do it faster. But it was about 20 minutes, which really wasn't too bad, and it was kind of therapeutic because it just is so, so pretty. So now that I have that die cut, I'm going to take these apart and I'm going to lay these together, and you will see that they kind of fit together. Like the H has a little bit of curve in it, so that way the C can come up right next to it. So all of these letters fit together. What else is really fantastic is the images will fit together as well, like a puzzle. Now I'm using a piece of Kraft cardstock. Now I'm going to tell you I made a mistake right at the beginning. Well, two mistakes. My first mistake was I trimmed my background to exactly 8.5 by 3.5. I should have done it bigger. I glued this on and then trimmed off the extra because it actually ended up being a little bit too small. Maybe my measurements were wrong, but it was a little bit too small. So, and then I should have not used liquid glue. I should have used a tape runner, which I originally had thought I was going to use. That way I could have just taken off all the letters and started over. But since I used liquid glue, these letters were not coming off. So I'll show you how I fixed it. But you know, these are handmade cards and this is just life and it's part of it, and it totally is going to work out fine because I was not going to start this card over. But as you can see, these fit so pretty together. Now, another pretty design would be having stamped these images onto Kraft cardstock, die cutting that large Christmas out of that, and then putting it on a white background. That would have been just as pretty. So I'm using my tweezers to help me slide everything into place, making sure it lines up at the top and the bottom. And then here's where I was like, oh my gosh, my Kraft cardstock is too small. So what I did was used a Kraft cardstock slimline base. I have another piece here and I'm using a little bit of liquid glue. I'm just going to adhere this down, trim off all of this excess, and it's just going to have a little tiny seam that, quite honestly, I don't think you're really going to notice because it's at the end of your card and you're just looking at the whole design. And then I'm going to adhere this to a Kraft cardstock card base. This is actually brown box from Cardstock Warehouse. This is their Kraft cardstock. So I cut my slimline base a little bit longer so I could adhere this down and then trim off some excess, being that I measured wrong before. I didn't want to have that issue this time. So now we've got this great little, or great big Christmas word. And now we're going to add the word, the die cut Merry. I'm die cutting that from Gold Mirror cardstock 3 times. This comes with that large Christmas die. So you get the word Merry and Christmas. I am just using my tweezers. I'm going to adhere all the layers together. Again, there's 3 layers, which is going to give me dimension. You could add foam tape behind it, but honestly, this is much quicker to die cut it a few times and glue it together. So I'm just going to glue those 3 pieces together, and then we will line this up in the center of the word Christmas. What I think is great about this is that you can adhere this Merry anywhere on this card because this is a big card. I decided to center it right in the middle of the word Christmas. I thought that would be absolutely perfect. I am going to bring in my T ruler. Normally I eyeball things, but I think because there are so many images on the word Christmas, I cannot figure out where this needs to be. So I'm just using my T ruler and lining up the 3 center words, center letters with that. And then the M and the Y, I am just going to kind of eyeball once I get these 3 letters in place. And these have some fun dimension, and I love that it is the mirror cardstock. I think that is gorgeous. Silver mirror cardstock or glitter cardstock would be fabulous as well. Now I'm going to finish by adding some gems to this. I'm using Spellbinders Gold Mix Essential Gems. I'm going to add those to the centers of the flowers that I can see. So if there wasn't a center, I didn't add a gem. And then I'm going to add a few more smaller ones kind of in the center there around those 2 red flowers in the center. And I just think this finishes this off nicely. If you don't have any gems, you could use a liquid pearl or a Nouveau crystal drop in gold or silver or whatever color, even red, that would be pretty, or pink. Any of those things would work just fine. So I'm going to finish laying those out. And then this card is finished. And look at how pretty it is. I love how colorful it is against that the Kraft cardstock in the back. This is a really fantastic die. If you don't have this in your collection, you should, because you can do so much with the background. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I appreciate you. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, comment, thumbs up, and share. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.